Hello, Stephanie Toman here, and this is a video that's going to cover the areas still within document setup, columns and watermarks, so how to use those features. And it's going to be looking at those with regards to the ICDL qualification for advanced Word, or if you want to use them, find out how to use them for your dissertations, projects, reports, etc., long documents, then you may use them for that. So I've done a nice short and sweet one so that you can pop in, have a look and see if it's of help, and if not, you can move on to something else. Hope you enjoy.
The next one we're going to look at are columns, because columns take a different way of wrapping and then in sections, and you have to section things off when you've got wrapping across the page in the normal format and wrapping in a column. And that example, if you look here, is that if you've got a section between your heading, your main heading, and your text, what will happen is if I highlight the text, in the exam, it may say the whole text or it may say some of the text. So let's do the whole text for starters. So they said the whole document, I would not use Control and A, because if I use Control and A, I'm going to include the heading. So let's make this into columns. So it's in the Layout tab and your columns drop down is there. Always go into the More columns, because you'll see in the test, in the revision questions that we're going to do, they usually want 2 columns and then they want some other extra bits. So they may change the spacing. They may want 1.5 spacing. Equal width, that's on by default. That's fine, so we're not going to be changing the width. A line between is another thing they ask for. So really be aware of all those little bits of detail. Click on OK, and then you can see that it's done it. If I take this out and delete it, and then again, do you see how that gets incorporated into the text that's columned? So you have to be really, really careful. If you've got a nice clean sweep across there using a section break, continuous section break, it means that it's still on the same page, but there's something going on here that's different to what's going on there. So you'll see columns, if you haven't sectioned it properly, you'll see columns starting and running all over the place and you can't keep control of them. And another thing they may ask in the exam is to use a column break. So if we place our cursor in front of dog eats 8.4 million winning lottery ticket, wow, kill it, wouldn't you? It would be very, very cross. Pop that in, break, column break, there it is. And you can see that it brings it up beautifully in line with the other one. Okay, so that's a proper column break that's been incorporated. When you're showing highs not on there, you won't see that anyway. You have no idea what somebody's done, but it looks great. It looks fantastic. Remember what I said in the test, you could be asked to just do a certain amount of, so it might say the first 4 paragraphs and leave the last one out. So only apply to what they ask you to apply it to. And column 2 might take the spacing might be 1.3, line between. Okay, and there you go, and you can see you've still got that one down here that's not been incorporated. And if you put in a column break, still left that out. Okay, so be aware of that as columns. Nice and simple, it's just about a bit of detail. Let's close that and let's have a look at the final bit on here, which is watermark. The watermarks are very easy to do. If you're in the exam, they will ask you to do a watermark and ensure that it's automatically inserted on a new page. So that's the thing we need to watch. So if we go into layout or design, actually moved it into design right next to layout. So layout's where you get your columns, and right next door design's where we get our watermark. And the thing about the word exam is the more you know where something is, even if you click around like I did a little bit there, it's fine, it won't penalise you in the exam. But if you start clicking everywhere looking for things over and over and over on each question, you'll find that you're up against time. So your time is the essence. And if you waste time, then it will catch up with you, try to remember as much as you can as to where something is. The key thing when you're applying a custom watermark to something where it automatically applies to a new page, you use the custom watermark, which is what I'm hovering on there. So you bring that up, the dialog box, then you apply the different things they may be asking you to do. So it's usually a text watermark. You've got drop down here as to which one. We'll put do not copy. I'm going to do it in red just so it stands out for you, and they may ask you to do it diagonal or horizontal. Then you apply and then you close, and as you can see, there it is. If we put in a new page, Control and Enter, just check, and then yes, because it's custom watermark, it's worked. Just out of interest as well, if we go back to watermark, custom watermark, we can actually overtype that, and you can put in your name. And you can have a personalised watermark. There we go, Stephanie, Director. Another little trick that won't come up in the exam, but it's quite useful. If you double click into a header of a document and you've got a logo or an image that you want in the back of your document, you can pop it in through the header. So just as an exercise, go into Insert, let's pick up a smiley face from our shapes. Draw it while you're in the header. And what you're doing is sort of dropping it down the back. You can change the colours and things while you're in there if that's what you want to do. It will take it on board. Double click out and you can see that that then becomes a watermark. Double click in. You can click on it. You can make it a lot bigger. So if it was a really good logo, you could pop it into the middle and then double click into the document and it becomes a watermark again. To get it and delete it, in your header, click on it, delete, and back out again. So just a little tip for the real world, but in the exam, remember, it's the custom watermark in the design tab. I've got to remember that one too. Okay, so that's the end of that bit. I'm not going to save. We're going to come out and we're going to have a quick look at tables before we leave this section, this series, if you like, in week 2. So the last part of week 2 lectures